Hi there, welcome back to the Playwright and TypeScript course. So in this video we focus on TypeScript and I will try to explain you the basics which needed to work with the Playwright. So I tell why to choose TypeScript over the JavaScript if that would be easier to configure. So imagine you are building a complex automation script, and your script is like a spaceship in the world of automation. Your spaceship is on a mission and navigating through the vast of galaxy of web applications. So now let's consider two scenarios, one using the JavaScript, another which using the TypeScript. So the first scenario is JavaScript. In our first scenario, our spaceship is powered by JavaScript. It's like piloting a spaceship without navigation system, just the instincts and handful duct tape. You are floating through the space, encountering cosmic challenges and hoping you don't crash into an asteroid. So JS doesn't give you any safety nets. One wrong move on your spaceship might just turn into a space debris. So the second scenario with the TypeScript, now you upgraded to the TypeScript, and it's like having a state-of-art navigation system expertly programmed and tested. You're still at the same galactic missions, but this time you have confidence. TypeScript provides you strong types, real-time error checking, and intelligent code suggestions. It's like having a co-pilot who has got your back, guiding you through the cosmos. So overall, why to use TypeScript for the Playwright? The TypeScript is actually a game changer when it comes to the Playwright automation. In this slide, we might highlight the key benefits of the TypeScript brings to the table. These benefits are crucial for ensuring the success and sustainability for your automation efforts. First is improving the code quality. In the world of automation, the code quality is paramount. TypeScript static typing system ensure that your code is robust and less prone to bugs. The robustness is actually key to build automation script that can stand changes in your application. TypeScript equips your script with a robust foundation, allowing them to adapt seamlessly to involve the application. With the TypeScript, your script becomes resilient, capable of handling the various scenarios without breaking. So maintaining the automation scripts can be daunting task, but especially when the tests are growing. So the TypeScript provides the code structure, strong typing. When your code is easy to understand, maintaining and extending, it actually becomes effortless. So to sum up, the TypeScript is actually trusted companion in the world of Playwright automation. It evaluates your automation project by delivering improved code and changing the robustness and effortless maintenance. So with the TypeScript, you are better equipped to navigate to the ever-changing landscape of the web automation. So as you might saw before that we using the sync await a lot. I know that there is some framework like WebDriver.io which have some version with the sync mode, but in general, using the sync await give us confidence that we will actually go step by step. So automation often involves complex asynchronous operation. Automation script interact with the web application, perform actions, and retrieve data. Many of these interactions are asynchronous by nature. For instance, waiting for the web page to load, submitting a form, or fetching data from API. All involve waiting for some operation to complete. Traditionally, handling the async operation in programming has been a challenge, especially when it comes to the JavaScript. Without proper tools, you often find yourself wrestling with the callbacks or managing promises manually. This can lead to the callback hell or complex promise chains that are difficult to read and maintain. Thankfully, now we are using async await, which is the solution for the synchronous dilemma. There are some cases where you still have to use the promise. For example, in a couple videos before, we did use the promise also. When you mark a function as an async, it means that the function contains asynchronous code. So you can then use the await keyword within the function to pause the execution until the promise resolved. This allows your code to wait until the result of asynchronous operation without blocking entire script. For example, when automating the web navigation with the Playwright, you may need to wait for a page to navigate to URL. And instead of dealing with the callbacks function or promise chain, you can use the await page page go to URL to ensure that the script actually wait for the navigation to complete. So now let's actually see how we can work with the TypeScript and the Playwright together. I prepared the index.html file with some example fields and check button to actually write some test suits. Here it is. So we can see we can provide the first name, age, only number, no letters, and to select if this is a student or not. If it's not, then no, and something like this. There is no logic implemented for the error messages, but only to check, to display the data we actually receive from those fields. So I create the workshop 7 file. And as you can see, we already used the TypeScript extension for those files, but we did not really wrote nothing with the TypeScript related. So let me show some simple examples. So let's actually add the test describe. And we would like to call it verbal declaration and types. So this will return the function where we would have our test. The first, we actually want to test the verbal, the declarations and types, which is pretty similar. So this will be async with page passed, and we will return the test. Actually, no need of this here. Cool. So let's actually first check the selectors. The apply button has the apply data ID. The input element got the first name, age, and for the checkbox, we got a is student checkbox. And for elements which are displaying data we passed, those are display first name, display age, and display is student. So first, let me add a couple variables, which will be the first name, and this will be John. And usually that would be just fine, but now with the TypeScript we want to specify that this is actually string, right? And it could be nothing else than string. Also for age, as you remember, this is only the number, so we can put it like that. So the TypeScript will know that only number is assigned to the age. And of course, let student is student. It's of course will be a boolean, which we assign as false. So as previously, we will have to go to our page. All right. And then we will fill some selectors. So we'll wait for page, fill, and we would love to actually fill the selectors of input elements, but let's put them under the describe. And actually we'll put this, we'll put this right here in this test. Cool. But the selectors, we would love to every test have the access to those selectors. So it will be the object of first name with the first name selector ID, last name, sorry, age, with the ID of age, of course, and the student would be the student ID. Perfect. So now instead of passing the selector into the fill method, we can only apply the like selectors, first name, and then pass the value of first name. You see, kind of simplify our code. make it more readable, of course. And now we want to do the fill method again, but we will pick the selectors and H, where we would love to put the H. Okay, so the TypeScript help you with understand where those errors could be, because we're passing H, but obviously we are looking for string in this fill method. You can see from here. So the string is accepting the selector, which is a string, and the value, which is a string. So of course this would trigger the error. So to avoid it, we can actually use the method to string from, and now the error is gone. So the only thing is different that we are now actually passing the string there. And then we want to check the checkboxes. So a student, and after it we would like to apply data. Click and apply data. Perfect. So now let's actually do some assertions. Wait. Expect. So we want to await for page text content from the display first name. Just remember, once you click expect, once you click apply, then our data is showing within this container. So this would be display first name. All right, this has to be first name. And we do the same with the H, display H. And then we want it actually to pick the different method, maybe to contain, just for some difference. And then H, of course, to string as previously. Oh, actually we don't need it to because the contain method is also is actually accepting the different values. Cool. So we got 3 accept. Then we actually don't want the text content. We just need to know, is it checked or not? Perfect. So let's actually make sure that this is worked. And you can see I did push the previous workshop. All right, not a skip, but only. Cool. You can see that we did change the. So the test is failed. As for now, probably we did put some wrong selectors. But what I wanted to show you that with this little change of the Playwright config to make the reporter list, which is actually my quite favorite reporter to for the local test run. So you can see that there is the suits for user registration test, and now we are running the variable declaration type suits. So this is quite useful when you're reading a lot of tests. But let's move to a spec file and why it's not finding the element of H. We got the H, but what is actually there? So the H got the ID of H. All right, have the ID. What could be done wrong? Yeah, the thing is that we just passed the wrong page. Okay. So we can see that there is actually the error with the contain method. So this is still not containing the right H because of the value we are passing this as a string, and this is the number. So let's actually change it to string. and try it again. All right. Now we get the other error, which is looking for, which is saying us that this is actually not a checkbox or radio button, because the selector is wrong, right? We got to have is student. Okay. And also it should not be the first name, but it just has to be checked. So we put as a true. Cool. Now that it's working, we just make sure that everything failed as expected, and then fix it together. We can also have a couple describes within one test. Let's actually make something like this as an example. So we won't use the verbal declaration and types, but we would like to have type definition and interfaces with the TypeScript. Interfaces. So the actual type definition and interfaces, not a common thing to use with the test, because you don't operate with much functions at all. But once your tests start to be really complicated and you want to improve your code, you write function to avoid some duplication of code to make your code clear. And in such cases, you won't be able to not to use the interfaces and types. So basically, the types as interfaces is the description of list of types and what the TypeScript should expect from such variable or function. Let me start with the test, and I call it type definitions, or like type def and interfaces. Cool. And we do return the test. So you remember, actually, we had the user, and for example, we just explicitly assigned our types right here. But what we can do to actually, for example, when we have a lot of the users and we want to reuse those types, right? So that's why we want to create a separate user type. So there's a type of user which have the first name as before, with the type of string, h with the type of number, and is student of the boolean. Cool. So usually you would like to keep such interfaces in the separate file for all your tests or for the separate test suites, but in general is a good practice. For this test case, we'll keep it here. So now we want to set that user with the interface, with the type of user. So in the TypeScript is suggesting you this hint, where you can find the information with what actually your type is. Okay, and then we no longer need to say something like string. We just can pass the value. So let's pass some data for it, and age 25 and is student true. All right. So now we can actually use it. We get everything we need in our test. We can actually put this data in the describe, right? Cool. And actually, let's copy the page from here. as previously, we would like to fill the first name, but then won't be the selectors because the selectors are right up here. So we just move the selectors out of that from separate describe, so we can use the selector altogether. And the first name too. And because of the first name should go from the user dot first name. As I said before, you might have the like hundred of users and put the user 1, user 3, etc., etc., production user or non-production user. This is the first name, of course, and then let's put some H. Let's say H. Cool. So as before, we need to move it to the string. Cool. So now the same as previously, we will apply this data. So we'll reuse this. And then we would like to have some assertions. This would be pretty much similar. Let's copy and modify if needed. So the first name we want to actually be user.firstname, and H should be user.h to string, and here we do expect that student is true. Is student, right? Perfect. And cool. Let's run only this test. This one we skipped. Skip. Right. So we get everything we need. Let's run it. We have to get, we did get some fail. So we are checking that our student is checked. So then it will be the because we actually did not check the student to be true. So what we want to do is to add not to be true in this case. That's why we get this error. All right, so we see the type definition and interfaces are pressed. Let's then see also one example how there is that to describe living within the same page, within the same test suite. So as you can see, as before, and that's why I really like the line reporter, because it really gives a lot of information about the file, describe, and the test which actually we did run. There's actually a short description how we can use the TypeScript with our Playwright test. So there is a lot of more about the TypeScript, and this is all worth of separate course. But for the Playwright, there is of course no limitation where to use it, but the situation when you need the real power from the TypeScript are limited. So the most of the time there will be the classes of the page object model, etc. So in the next video we will actually explore more about the page object model and then how to structure it and how this is actually help to keep our code maintainable and understandable for rest of the QAs, for example. See you in the next one.